Hello, everybody. My name is Conor, a.k.a. OKayFabe, in case you can't tell from the shameless plug merchandise and the giant green sign right behind me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to OneWrestling.com and, of course, One Wrestling Video YouTube channel, as we're here to discuss with you guys live or tape, depending on what time of the day you're kind of watching this, as we're going to talk all the fun results, full review and results right here of SmackDown Live's second pay-per-view, exclusive pay-per-view, since they have done the brand split. We are talking, of course, WWE No Mercy 2016. A lot of things to cover, a lot of things to talk about, craziness, chaos, and all sorts of fun right here with you guys here on One Wrestling Video. Now, I'm not alone. Usually you see me as the SmackDown video correspondent doing my own SmackDown rebound reviews for One Wrestling, but I'm not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me a good friend, cohort of One Wrestling, of the Big Slam Nation. We've got legendary KILLA. How you doing, sir? Long time no see.
Fantastic. Okay. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. This is an interesting pay-per-view. We're gonna, what'd you think of the show, real fast, like just overall?
A little off center. I think by flipping the main event to where they did, kind of threw everything off the feeling for it. But we had some good matches. We wound up, of course, one match was not occurring due to an injury, and we'll get into that. And we had a new main event, which turned out to ended very well, at least in my opinion anyway.
No, I'm right there with you on that one.
Yeah.
The overall pay-per-view, we're going to get into that whole full results, but of course I want to give this time to thank every guys, one of us who is watching us live right now. The viewers are just starting to come in, so bear with us as we're going to get our shameless promotion out while we can. Make sure you follow everyone in the entire OneWrestling.com family, including, of course, the legendary, the iconic Mr. Bill Apter. Follow him on Twitter at AfterOneWrestling. Make sure you follow One Wrestling at One Wrestling over on Twitter. Check out the website, of course, OneWrestling.com, and make sure to follow all the members of the Big Slam Nation, Big Ray, Billy Ray Valentine, 8-Track,
FAMEBLAck.
FAMEBLAK. We've got
the professor.
The professor. I mean, I can't remember all these names. And of course, our friends over at Sunday SEGUE as well too. All the links for all their social media, including mine as well too. And of course, Bill Schyuler's will be down in the description box below. Give him some love. Go give him some praise. If you guys are new to One Wrestling and One Wrestling Video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, and make sure you check out all the other awesome content right here on One Wrestling Video as well. Now, we're going to get into the kickoff show real quick, rapid fire. We had two or three segments really to discuss. The first one being the man himself, the man who is able to help you face the facts. Curt Hawkins made his in-ring debut just to announce that he's going to have a match on SmackDown. Okay, well, a little kind of head scratcher there. I mean, personally, my opinion is I kind of was expecting a match. I think everyone universally was expecting a match. But in the same way, this also kind of, feeds into the character that Curt Hawkins is coming up with. So I think this is just a way to kind of put him over as a heel. Schuyler, real quick, your thoughts on the, delayed debut of Curt Hawkins?
Yeah, I was wondering if Chuck Norris was going to be the opponent since Curt has taken his gimmick. But yeah, at least this saves Curt Hawkins from the possibility that he was going to be squashed by somebody else new coming in, kind of similar to what happened to the last individual who showed up and he got beat up. But Curt Hawkins, I think, seems to be like he's getting a big push, which is quite interesting. There's a guy that's floated all around. He was part of, he went to a New York, New Jersey independent promotion for a while, and was in Global Force, of course, came into TNA for a hot second, and now he's back with the big boys with a major push. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the character goes, and you're right, kind of like saying like he's taking the Chuck Norris gimmick. I thought those vignettes were funny. Yeah, they're hilarious. They're little things, and I think it's hard to tell for me if he's going to be a babyface or a heel. That's kind of my bigger question, but of course, guys, another thing I forgot to mention as well, too, of course, we want to hear you guys' thoughts on No Mercy. Leave them down in the chat. If you guys are watching us live right now, of course, in the comment section below, let us know what you guys thought of No Mercy. We'll be reading your chat comments throughout the live stream as well, too. But the actual first match that we had of the kickoff show was an absolute insane 8-man tag team matchup. We had American Alpha and the Hype Bros against Ascension and the Vaudevillains. Absolute calamity, craziness, high octane action, and I loved every minute of it. I'm really liking the fact that the SmackDown Live and the SmackDown pay-per-views are really accentuating the tag team division. And what I mean by that is they're really accentuating not just the 2 or 3 teams that are in contention for the tag team titles, but more or less the rest of the entire division. I mean, granted, we're not seeing every single tag team. I'm still waiting to see more of Breezango back on SmackDown yet, but they're still featuring, of course, American Alpha, the Hype Bros, Ascension, and Vaudevillains, as I mentioned earlier. This match was just absolute chaos and calamity. Of course, American Alpha and the Hype Bros getting the win over Ascension and Vaudevillains. I'm happy to see Ascension on the pay-per-view. Skylar, I'm going to throw it over to you. Your thoughts on the featured tag team division match in the kickoff show?
Yeah, fantastic opening match. You know, nothing better than a barn burner to take you flying through, and of course having American Alpha coming back and getting part of the major win and just looking fantastic. I mean, you know, these guys are going to have the gold soon. Looking forward to seeing them feuding with the Usos as soon as possible, to be honest with you. Yeah, I agree with you. SmackDown just seems to be better from top to bottom, left to right. They are just dominating and being if you want wrestling show, you watch. If you want sports entertainment more, then you go to Raw and deal with that 3 hours. Now, the only thing that Raw has that we don't on SmackDown, I say we because it's the show I'm loving, is, of course, the cruiserweights.
Right.
And one women's wrestler who I'm hoping and praying will be the first trade, and that is to get to get Bayley over to SmackDown, because she seems to be lost in the mix in Raw, and I don't know what they're doing with her, but she's not in the ring, and she's not in any kind of major angle, and it's driving me crazy.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, and we'll talk more about the women's division when we get to the 2 women's matches that were featured on this card. I was kind of secretly hoping that when Bayley did get called up to the main roster, she would be called up on SmackDown, because that way you would have 2 of the 4 horsewomen of NXT on 2 separate brands, you know what I mean, like that. But anyway, we'll dive into that one. The big thing I wanted to get off the bat, of course, right off the get-go, is something that was a big kind of shocker move. And I know Bill Apter had talked about this actually in the previous video, so if you guys haven't had a chance to go check that out right here on this channel as well too, was the fact that a few hours, mere hours before the pay-per-view started, before even the kickoff or anything like that nature happened, WWE did something that, to the best of my knowledge, and I have a pretty extensive knowledge, and I think Bill Schyuler can help me out here with this one if I'm incorrect. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first time ever in history that WWE has ever started a pay-per-view or pay-per-view-esque event with the WWE Championship on the line. Not the world title. That's different. The WWE Championship. They tweeted it out and made it official that the triple threat between AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and John Cena would kick off the show. Now, myself and Skylar were actually talking about this before we got on the air, that there was a possibility that with the second presidential debate going on in the middle, or combating No Mercy at the same time, that maybe this was a move by WWE to kind of combat that as far as people keeping their interest, which I could definitely see as a positive, smart move in the long run, but at the same time, it did also confuse me as far as what the main event was going to be. But also, great action right out of the gate. That's the real big thing that I took away from this more than anything. I love the triple threat. I thought the psychology was great. AJ retaining. There were a couple of spots, but we're going to get into the deep roots of this matchup. But Skylar, I'm going to throw it over to you real quick. I mean, putting the WWE Championship match right from the opening, is that more good than bad? I know it's breaking tradition a little bit in a lot of ways, but good or bad thing in your opinion?
I think it worked out really well tonight. Again, it was odd, and we were left the whole night. You didn't know what the main event was going to be until they got to the next. You know what I mean? It's I had half expected it might be Ziggler, and then half of me was like, well, it might be the Orton match. Which one's it going to be? That's the biggest one, the biggest two, and watched. I don't know. Give it a spoiler here early. I don't know. Mess anybody up. But I like the direction they went. The main event that they chose, to me, worked out well.
Right.
I that opening match, those three guys seem to be working very, very well together.
Yes. Yes.
It just shows me how great of a performer that, love him or hate him, John Cena is, and also that AJ Styles is, that
Yes.
they could wrestle with anybody and have great matches. And when you get two wrestlers like that who actually are going to wrestle each other, sky is the limit. I mean, they could just do anything in the ring, and they just loved it. And, you know, if you noticed, booing AJ when he came out, but a good boo. Like, it was because he was a heel, not because they didn't like him. Right. I don't want to leave Dean Ambrose out. He also was working well with John, and so I think with AJ. Something about Dean Ambrose's style doesn't seem to flow with me, with AJ Styles as well. But as far as Ambrose and Cena, I think they're going to feud for quite a while. They just seem to be Ambrose seems to really hate John Cena, and has been saying, you know, pretty much been nailing him and not siding with him at all in this feud. So I'm looking forward to see what happens. Of course, everybody was like, "Oh, is Cena going to win and tie Ric Flair tonight?" And no, he's not. You're going to have to look something to that happening towards WrestleMania, and we'll see. Because not only does he have to tie him, then he has to beat him. So that's going to be two major shows. Unless for some weird reason they would do it all in one night, which of course is not impossible to do.
It's happened before.
It has happened before, yes. We'll see. I'm in no great rush to have Rick's record broke. I don't even know if they're going to. They may not. They could tease that for a year,
right?
For 2 years,
right?
You know, and John doesn't need to break it.
True that too. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to lead up to just. I had a lot of people today back and forth with me and online and social media, like, "Oh my God, it's just terrible that they're going to break Ric Flair's record, and they should never break that." And you know, I had to explain to these guys. I'm like, you know, Ric Flair broke everybody's record years ago. I said, you know, I remember growing up that, you know, when Rick was breaking guys who had 2 years, you know, 2 reigns, 3 reigns, 4 reigns. When he broke Lou Thesz's record, everybody said there was no way it was going to happen. They would never have him break Thesz's record, and he would just stay there. Yeah, and he did, and he kept rolling and rolling and rolling. Right. You know, so I mean, you know, Triple H was moving that way, and then he slowed down and stopped. Cena did not, and that's just because they were pushing Cena much, you know, further and higher than Triple H was. But I kind of went off on a tangent, but
it's all right.
Great opening match, and I was glad that you know what, I think it worked out. I like that better way, just in this match or in this pay-per-view, and it's not something I would want to see regularly. And I don't think we'll see it again for a long time.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, no, I think no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I kind of agree. I think a lot of people were kind of like, oh, he's you know, John Cena's gonna break the Ric Flair record. I think whenever you transition from, you know, someone who's as legendary, as iconic as Ric Flair, who has done so much, he's, you know, one of the main staples and, you know, obviously bona fide legend. He's such great accolades. When you have someone that's coming parallel to that, especially someone as controversial as John Cena, as far as fans being polarizing of whether they love him or hate him, even to this day, after being on top for 10 plus years, you know, they can certainly jar people the other way. But I do agree that I think Dean, I thought they were going to turn Dean heel and out of all of this, because you saw the tension between Cena and Dean during this whole thing, and funny enough, AJ almost seemed like the third wheel in some regards, and he's the champion, and it's very the way they handled this as far as the build up and lead to this was great. I thought the psychology in this match was perfect. You had Dean and Cena, both with submission on AJ at the same time, and he taps. So Kyoto doesn't know what to do, so he continues the matchup, and then AJ coming in with a steel chair, being the jerk that he is, and getting the win. I'm pinning Cena, by the way, which is, I think, a huge, huge thing, because my assumption is that Dean... Right, which my assumption is that Dean is they're going to continue on with Dean. Dean's going to get frustrated and furious, and I would probably go out on a limb and say I'm going to expect Dean to get his revenge on AJ Styles this coming Tuesday on SmackDown Live, leading into a major type of match for Survivor Series. That's my guess on that one. Or at the very least, most likely, a rematch for the title on SmackDown Live before they announce the next one on Survivor Series. But I thought the matchup was fantastic. AJ keeping the championship, I thought was a smart move. I'm pretty much in agreement with you, Schuyler, on that one. But of course, we want to hear you guys' thoughts, of course, down in the chat section, comment section, and let us know what you guys thought of this awesome triple threat that we think was a great way to kick off the show with No Mercy. The next matchup we had was the first of two women's matches between Nikki Bella and Carmella. The only real thing I want to say on this one, in my personal opinion, I was putting money down that Carmella was going to win. Carmella's been chasing Nikki, beating her down. I thought they would have Carmella get a sneaky victory to continue the rivalry. Schuyler, do you think they're going to keep this going, or do you think this is over now that Nikki got the win?
I could see this going on. I don't know what direction they want to go with Carmella. Who I mean, obviously she could be going up against the champ, working her way that way. Right. I don't think you're going to see Nikki heading for the gold again. I think as far as in the women's division, her having the longest reign as diva and everything, she doesn't need the gold belt. She doesn't need the title. Right. So she can kind of come and go as she likes. She's going to be highly involved with the television show, promoting her television show. Of course, she's with John Cena. So when to not be on television, they're off doing their thing. That's just my opinion. And this match, I am not a Bella's fan at all. But she was fantastic. I mean, I put this on Carmella because she doesn't have the experience, I think, to have been able to carry somebody that's not that great and have it look this good. They battled. It was some hard-hitting shots for Nikki Bella. This was definitely not like your old school Bella's match. This was a lot of big spots. It was. I just loved it. I thought it was really great. Of course, Carmella has been, improving every day since the first day she showed up in NXT, and she is definitely. They went the right path with her. I'm glad she went heel, and I think they'll get a lot more out of her as a bad guy.
There you go. I'm pretty much in the same boat with you. I was just a little blown. I was just kind of shocked that, again, Carmella got that Nikki got the victory, only because I felt like it would make more sense for Carmella too. But I mean, that matchup pulled out more than I expected it to, and I mean that in all the positive regards. I thought it was very well done. Just curious to see exactly where it's going to go in the future. Now, the next matchup really blew me away, and not in the sense of, not saying that the matchup I was expecting to be extremely disappointing, but it pulled out more stops and there was a lot more action and much better psychology than I thought there would have been in this matchup. And, of course, I'm talking about the SmackDown Tag Team title match between the Usos and Rhino and Slater. I was just thoroughly entertained with this matchup, to be completely honest with you. This one I thought was actually much better than their Backlash match, and their Backlash match was actually pretty good. I would actually rank it within the top 3 of that card on Backlash, and just really entertaining. It was really great. I think the psychology was there. Usos being full heel, I think, was a change in the right direction. And again, they're really predominantly featuring the tag team divisions. I think it was very smart to make sure you keep the belts on Slater and Rhino. They are still over. I was a little worried that Slater might not have been like it might have fizzled down, but he's still just as over, I thought, as he has been, because he's still got the pop. I think it was smart for the Usos to come out first, and then when you hear Slater's music, the crowd just went berserk for him. So glad to see Rhino and Slater and keeping that double wide, that above ground pool that he earned so well. Make sure you feed. Yeah, he's got that shirt. That shirt,
That's
though,
the best.
it's so good. I mean, Schuyler, thoughts real quick on the SmackDown Tag Team Title match.
Yeah, it was just fun. It's just so great. I mean, people, because Rhino was in ECW and has been around for so long, people, kind of have it in their mind that he's old. And he's not. He was very young when he came into ECW. Even though they said that on the show, he's not an ECW original. He was part of the second, almost third wave of main eventers for ECW. Mm-hmm. And Rhino has wrestled, he's been, TNA, ECW, WWE, and every other promotion under the sun. But as far as it was major television, he was there, and he's been part of it and been a major character and everything. And he's still just great in the ring. And Heath Slater is unbelievable. I mean, here's a guy that he was always a good wrestler, the right gimmick. And the image they gave him with the 3-man band, to begin with, where they changed his look, was the beginning of it. And once he became the one-man brand,
love that.
He's just over and above. And they're going to go with him for a long time. I don't think the fans are going to get tired of him at all, because he's not just he's got the gimmick, and on some guys that's all they would have, and the gimmick would get old because they don't have the chops in the ring. He's got the ability to wrestle with anybody and put on a great match. A guy that they can do whatever. And yes, I'm glad they kept the gold on them too, or the silver, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid they were going to take it off of them too. And I said it was too soon. Just didn't know how it was going to go. And, the Usos being full-blown heels now, no question about it. They're only going to get nastier. And it's my opinion, they're going to continue to get
interesting
and crueler and more violent in the ring. The interviews that they had, I think you're going to see, as Reigns also continues meaner and nastier and turning, I think they're going to finally make him go full heel. Possibility of having that Samoan faction turn into something quite big, and could be quite interesting going into the wrestling season of Royal Rumble forward. I'm just waiting to see. I mean, that's just me. That's fantasy booking in my head, but I would love to see that. I would love to see Rikishi come back in as the manager type, and of course, doing all that, The Rock also can make an appearance.
Samoan takeover.
It could be interesting. Yes.
Samoan takeover. That would be interesting to see. But Survivor Series is right around the corner. That's a co-branded pay-per-view. Why not put and then you put Roman Reigns, the Usos, and then there is someone who's supposed to be coming back very soon. We're talking, of course, Tamina. So you could add her into the whole mix as well, too. But
and you got Nia Jax.
That's true. Shoot, I forgot about her, too. But I digress. We move on. I want to move on to this next matchup. This matchup, I was actually... It's kind of funny because on paper you wouldn't think, because it wasn't really, it didn't have a lot of build to it. It had maybe about a 3-week build max. Baron Corbin against Jack Swagger. Fell in love with this. Fell in love with everything about this. I'm so glad to see Swagger on SmackDown. Corbin hitting the end of days. He made it look amazing. It just the way he flung him up in the air and just dropped him. Corbin getting the win. totally fine with that. Very happy with this one. Schuyler, quick thoughts on this one.
Yeah, the build-up they did, which made it happen so fast and work so well, was having them say that Corbin tapped out, and he didn't.
Yes.
Just lit it up, and so you had fans that were on both sides. Oh yeah, he did tap, and I'm a swagger guy. And then the Corbin fans saying, "Oh man, you screwed him. He didn't." And you know that he was gonna
Right.
get revenge.
Right.
Me, I was like, "There's no doubt in my mind, Corbin's winning this match."
Right.
What was great to see, craps on Swagger. Him and Dolph were in similar situations where they were too young to have the main titles thrown on them, and it didn't work. And then they didn't, instead of leaving the belt on them and working with them and turning them into the champions that they wanted them to be, they yanked the belts off of them, and it ruined them. And then the fans, of course, were like, "Oh, he washed out as a champion. He couldn't draw. They took the belts away." Here you go. And the Swagger's been wrestling. He's a great amateur superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Dolph Ziggler,
Yes.
greatest wrestler in Kent State's history. So you got two guys there that can do whatever you want to do physically in the ring, and out of the ring, they're also legitimately can fight. And Swagger is going to get built back up, hopefully. And yes, he's in SmackDown, not on Raw, where he would get lost, and in my opinion, would just be a jobber. I think you're going to see him turn into the guy that he was supposed to have been years ago.
Right.
They're kind of still keeping that real American gimmick on him. He's, still saluting. They should kind of slowly strip that away and turn him into whatever character they're going to make him be. But I think you're going to see big things from him, and it helped. You had to push Corbin. You can't have him losing because he doesn't have him. Yeah, otherwise, people would just think, he's no good. Kind of like his partner, another guy that they brought up from NXT, and Prince Pretty. They just didn't push him the right way because they wanted him to be a superstar, Dolph Ziggler, right away, and he wasn't. And then that was kind of Vince McMahon's thing. Well, he's a little guy, and I don't like little guys.
The jury's still out on him because, with the Breezango thing, I mean, there's a new rejuvenation with him, so I think that would definitely point him in the right directions. That's why I'm very curious to see where that tag team division's going, like you were mentioning, like I was mentioning earlier. But,
I think he's going to wind up being a valuable player for the WWE. He was too good in NXT not to make it up here.
No, I kind of in agreement with that. He was very well over, and I think he's going to add a lot, especially to SmackDown. SmackDown seems to be, like you were saying, the place for like a lot of a lot more wrestling matches compared to Raw. I think Raw is more mainstream in that regards. Not that there's not wrestling on Raw, obviously.
Yeah. That was the word, though. Mainstream. That's the one I was looking for.
Right. I mean, it's more mainstream because it's it is 3 hours. They are looking to broaden their audience, which is smart business, of course, from WWE's standpoint. But in any case, I digress. I love getting off tangents, though. Next matchup was hands down. There's no question for me. This was the matchup of the night. I think I don't want to speak for Schuyler. I don't want to speak for you guys who are watching us, but I'm pretty sure we can all, I think, mostly assume that the Intercontinental title versus career matchup between Ziggler and Miz was the matchup of the night. No matter what I say to you guys, I won't be able to do this justice. The emotion, the tension, there was such attention to detail, the psychology, the announcing. There's no such thing as a perfect match in the world of pro wrestling. I think we've all known that after watching it for so long. But, I mean, this had all the right elements of everything you needed to have. Just, to me, the emotion was really the big thing of it. There was a particular moment when Ziggler was coming out to the ring. It was right before he got in the ring ropes, and he just sat and he looked, and the camera zoomed in on him. It was just like, wow. put that on a DVD cover or something. That's just such raw emotion right there. It was so good. And on the flip side of that, with Miz after the matchup, where he looked absolutely just heartbroken. Of course, Miz is no longer, unfortunately, the never-ending world tour.
It's over.
Is over. And Dolph Ziggler is now tied with The Miz as a 5-time Intercontinental Champion. Again, I'm not going to go into detail because if you haven't watched this matchup, you need to go watch it because it was just absolutely fantastic. You had Maurice spraying the hairspray in Ziggler's eyes. You had the return of the Spirit Squad's Kenny and Mikey again, which I thought was a great little nod. It was just overall. I can't do this justice. Schuyler, I mean, real quick.
If you're a Dolph Ziggler fan, and I've been since he first came in, he could do it all. And that's no secret in the industry. It's no secret among, fans. Casual fans may not understand that, but to watch and see what Dolph does in the ring with anybody he wrestles, he knows ring psychology. From the way he looks, the way he moves, the way he may fall. I mean, he does everything just unbelievably so, and you buy into whatever he's doing. They were just off the chart. And Miz, I'm a big Miz guy. Love Miz. When Miz was champion at WWE, what a run he had for a guy that was only supposed to have the title for a few weeks. Took it up over a year. And Miz is a guy that loves professional wrestling and did everything he could to be a wrestler. And that's a whole other story for another day about how Miz was treated and not part of the locker room and things like that.
Right.
And the guy stuck with it. A guy who went from main event in WrestleMania one year to not being on WrestleMania the next year, but still with the company. And he still stuck with it. Continue. He does a lot of big things as far as Make-A-Wish and things like that. Right. And the guy just gets better and better every year. And this gimmick with the actor, and with his wife back in is just gold. And this was just a fantastic Intercontinental match. Yeah,
I mean, the one thing I'll just wrap up on that note, again, I can't do no matter what I say, it's not going to do it any justice. The one thing I'm hoping from all of this, and I'm not saying I'm not happy Dolph Ziggler is Intercontinental Champion. I'm very happy Dolph Ziggler is coming. I'm very happy Dolph Ziggler is staying in WWE. I really just hope that of all this and kind of going hand in hand with what Bill Schyuler just said about being a Miz fan, that this is the beginning of the launching pad for the Miz to get to the next, go back to the WWE World Title picture. I'd love to see it because he's such a great heel. He knows how to get heat. He knows how to draw your attention. When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. It's great. It's old school, but at the same time, it's new school. It's a mix of both, and I like that. You notice there's different components of his character that encompass a lot of the old school heels with new school tactics, like you were just saying about the actor and Maurice and just the whole thing. So I just hope that out of all of this, despite Miz losing the Intercontinental Championship, I hope this is the first step in his path back to the WWE World Title. Now, speaking of championships, we did have Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon make a bit of a blockbuster announcement as it pertains to No Mercy. And of course, we are referring to SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch. They did divulge that, unfortunately, due to a medical condition that was not have anything to do with in-ring competition, that she was not able to defend the championship. She was not able to compete. She was not cleared to compete. Nothing has been said as far as what the issue is. We, of course, hope that Becky Lynch gets a speedy recovery, whatever, whatever her issue may be. Instead, we did see Alexa Bliss versus Naomi, and honestly, I'm not sure which is more of a shocker. The fact that that we did not see the SmackDown Women's Championship defended or stripped from Becky Lynch. Maybe the injury is not hopefully as serious as they maybe alluded it to be, or the fact that Naomi got the upset on Alexa Bliss, who was the SmackDown Women's Champion #1 contender. A little bit of a dichotomy in that one. Personally, I thought they would have stripped Becky Lynch of the championship to put the belt on Alexa Bliss, and the only reason I say that is because that would have generated a massive amount of heat for her and make her truly the top heel. I almost said it. The top heel women's wrestler on SmackDown. And then when Becky came back, you had a great story set up for her to chase the championship back from Bliss. You never really beat me for the championship, etc., and so forth. So Schuyler, I mean, your overall thoughts on the decisions they made with the SmackDown Women's Championship? I mean, did they make the right call? Should they have stripped the championship of Becky Lynch, or do you think you were happy with Naomi defeating Alexa Bliss tonight?
No, I'm glad they didn't strip her of the title. You have 60 days in the WWE to defend your title.
I thought it was 30. Okay.
This is the difference with the WWE compared to, like, say, WCW back in the day. It was 30 days. I think the world title was 45. It varies in a different, but WWE's is rather long, 60. That's why some people have went time. Right. You're like, oh my God, this guy's never defended the title.
Right.
She is rumored to she should be back within 30 days.
That's good.
Within a month. So it's not too bad. I mean, different things out there. I don't know what it is. I had heard originally that it was a neck injury, but it wasn't from in-ring competition, as they did say, which that followed up with the thing that she hurt her neck outside of the business. Whether it was in maybe training or a fall or even a car, who knows? But if it's only 30 days, it's not that bad. She'll be back. So I wouldn't want to take the title from her, because her winning the title was a shock. People were very surprised that they went with her. Again, inside the company, I'm a Ric Flair guy, so I listen to the Ric Flair show, and because, of course, with Charlotte, he talks quite a bit about the women's division, and very much so the Four Horsewomen, because they're all very close. And Becky is a hot property as far as WWE is concerned, and the office is very high on her, and she's excellent in the ring, and I think it would be too soon for her to have the title. Naomi is someone who, I mean, she is just fantastic. And this thing now for her entrances, that she's doing whatever she can do to outdo the previous one. They're compared. 1 month it was Beyonce like. Then tonight, Ronaldo said she was like Nicki Minaj. Yeah. It's just great, and I was blown away with that, with the green day glow thing. I was like, this is awesome, and Naomi just has gotten better and better, and I think she deserves to be in that. Let's see, maybe we have them feud a bit leading up into the next pay-per-view, that being Alexa Bliss and her, as to who will be the real #1 contender. Because right now that's up in the air.
Right.
It looks to me like Naomi would be like, well, I'm the #1 contender now. I beat you, so we'll have them take it out.
No, I didn't think of it that way, actually. Now that you mentioned that, I did not think of it that way. It's a good way to put it. Obviously Naomi getting the win over Alexa should be very interesting to see where things go in that one with the SmackDown women's division. Now, of course, with the last and not least, we do have the main event. We have Bray Wyatt against Randy Orton in a matchup that was had the bizarre, dark, mysterious build to it, which I actually thought was extremely entertaining. It was different. It was, to me, it kind of brought back nostalgia of the old Undertaker days when he was on SmackDown and the brand split.
Yes,
doing like the behind the scenes antics, and I really appreciated that. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, the finish put a smile, I think, on both Bill Schuyler's face as well as mine, for multiple reasons. The finish came when a returning Luke Harper showed up in the ring to distract Randy Orton long enough for Bray Wyatt to hit the sister Abigail and get the pinfall victory. Now, we're happy about this for two reasons. Number one, I'm very happy to see Luke Harper back. He had been reported seeing at the Performance Center. Apparently, he was backstage at several WWE events. He even did a house show for Raw. And so the popular opinion was that he was going to be returning to the Raw brand. And so a lot of people were kind of worried because out of the Wyatt family, I think a lot of people do like Luke Harper, yours truly included, and I believe Schuyler as well too. Yeah. So to see him on SmackDown is just me being selfish, obviously being paired back with Bray Wyatt, again, two great performers and workers, no doubt. The second is the fact that Bray Wyatt got the win here. Now, a lot of people we're saying about Bray Wyatt not being able to get any major victories. I know that's something that's been publicly discussed by a lot of wrestling fans in the IWC as far as Bray Wyatt not getting a major victory in here. And this is really the first one. This is the first one he's gotten a major victory. Granted, it was the help with Luke Harper, but hey, I'll take him where I can choose him at this point. And I definitely think with Luke Harper's involvement, you have, another component that you had similar to Eric Rowan, but at the same time, you can utilize him more, I think, because Luke Harper, you can use as kind of like that chess piece to put between Randy getting his revenge on Bray Wyatt, because obviously this feud will hopefully continue. And I'm really, really expecting some good things out of this one. I think adding Luke Harper to the mix is just going to make things that much crazy and that much more interesting. But I'm very happy with the way the main event ended. Schuyler, your rundown on how No Mercy closed.
Yeah, the match, like you said, the whole Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt it threw me back. It made me think of the Undertaker and Jake the Snake's thing that they did with Ultimate Warrior. Mm-hmm. And again, because Bray is, in my opinion, he's a culmination of Jake the Snake, Kevin Sullivan, and the Undertaker. And I always get that but much more because of the delivery that he does. The vocabulary that he uses is just tremendous. Even like a spin the wheel, make the deal kind of feel. I mean, you had all those type of things going, but it didn't get. That's what's great about Bray is it doesn't go too far into like the B movie horrors or whatever.
Right.
And to have all of a sudden when everything went dark and then the lights came right back up and it was Luke Harper right in front of Randy's face. And he looks great. Like he's lost like a lot of weight. Yeah. And he looks like he built it up. So it looks like he's in really good shape, probably real healthy, real rested, and really ready to go. I don't know if they're going to add a other member to the Wyatt family to, bring him back. I don't know if they're going to bring Rowan back. Braun Strowman, I don't think you'll see him come back at all. He's already on his own. What happens? I mean, if that push doesn't work, he could come back, but I don't think they need him. I didn't feel he fit in with the Wyatts anyway, despite the beard. He didn't feel right to me. But irregardless of that, solid match. It's one that I want to watch again because I think I'll be able to enjoy it even more, knowing what kind of, because all night it was like, which is going to be the main event.
Right.
And we found out. But here's Randy Orton loses another match since coming back.
Yeah, it's a little perplexing.
Yeah, it's like, is Randy being punished? Because this is the type of thing.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, but you would think because that's the kind of thing Vince would do back in the day. You're going to have to pay for what you did, and you're going to, you're not going to win for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. So curious to see where Randy goes from here. Is he done with Bray Wyatt, or will they go on again? He could continue to fight with the Wyatts, in my opinion, because I don't want to. You couldn't see him continuing to go with Brock. One, because Brock isn't around. As available, and I think you'll see Randy and him face again somewhere down the line for Randy to try to make up for the fact of how much damage Brock did to him in that match, that like a revenge type of thing, or they could completely forget about it and say you're never getting in the ring with him again. I don't, hard to say.
Right.
Brock is a guy that just, he goes from one opponent to the next, and you just never know who he's going to stick with.
True. So,
but
real quick, I don't want to keep too much on here. If you were to give No Mercy a letter grade for a pay-per-view and your favorite matchup of the entire card,
I give it a C+.
Okay.
And I know that sounds kind of low, but it's really not. A C+ to me. It was solid all the way through. It definitely wasn't up across the board to be an A with 5-star matches all over the place. Didn't have it. And the B, it fell down to the C because the pay-per-view felt very awkward and just how the matches were laid out. I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't. Right. It just felt like it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I think you're saying the title match at the beginning kind of threw you off. We were discussing about that before we got on the air, which I can definitely agree with on that one.
And the match of the night, Ziggler. There's no doubt. Ziggler, that match there is probably, except for AJ winning the title, and of course the tremendous match that AJ had with John Cena, one of the best, if not the best, really SmackDown matches since the company made the brand split.
Yeah, no, I'm actually gonna give it a better letter grade. Actually, I'm gonna give it closer to like a B, and the main reason is because you had those two big matches. You had because remember, and triple threats are really hard to do. People don't realize that triple threat matches are very difficult because, and you usually see this in most triple threat matches, and is that you usually see the three of them start and then one patters out and then the two, and then they just rotate. And they were very creative and innovative in the psychology that they did with especially teasing Dean and Cena, which I was bringing up earlier about like the fact that AJ felt like a third wheel in that part, and he's the champion. That's so bizarre. Dean, definitely Dolphin and Miz, I think, stole the show. I think there's no doubt about it. And I think that was also another reason I gave it a higher grade, was because, you're right. It was a solid show from top to bottom, but those two, to me, those two matches stood out so much. But I do also agree in the sense that the pay-per-view felt off, and I think it's because psychologically wise for us wrestling fans, especially for us diehard wrestling fans, match order is kind of something that comes almost second nature. Like, okay, it should be this, it should be that. Granted, we've kind of, I don't want to say figured out the WWE formula as far as how they've booked their pay-per-views, as far as what matches are in what order usually, but most of the time we usually get it right as far as what they open with, what they close with, and 9 times out of 10 they close with, and rightfully so, the major world championship. And that makes sense because that's the most prestigious prize. So to have it as the first matchup, I think, did kind of set off a little kilter as far as like, okay, we weren't sure what we were getting for our main event, whether it was going to be the Intercontinental title or the Wyatt Orton matchup. And then getting the Intercontinental title match. So I think that also did have a major part to play as far as it being just a little off, and not necessarily in a negative way. It's just different and not something that we're used to, because the matches were in such chaos and calamity. And I shouldn't say chaos order, but just such a different order. But anyway, folks, we're gonna wrap things up here on this live review of No Mercy. I want to thank you guys for tuning in live to us right here on One Wrestling Video, and of course checking us out over on OneWrestling.com as well too. You guys have been fantastic. You guys have been amazing. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe, like button, and share this to the world. And of course, I'm going to give my good friend, Mr. Bill Schyuler, an opportunity to plug his social media where we can find him. Take it away, good sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at You Got The Show. That's UGOTDASHOW. And of course, you can follow all of us at Big Slam Nation. And I do the Total Impact Wrestling reviews each and every week, and NXT reviews as well, and anything else that kind of comes down the pike, we jump into and take care of. And it's always interesting to see what happens. But definitely hit me up on Twitter. I hit you right back. We can talk wrestling all the time. It's that's what my Twitter is there for, to reach out to other wrestling fans and talk about wrestling all the time from all over the planet. And that's pretty much what I got going right now.
Beautiful. And of course, you can follow me at Twitter at OKayFabe. Check out my YouTube channel as well, too. And make sure you give love to the entire OneWrestling.com family as well, too. You know me, I usually do the SmackDown rebounds right here on the One Wrestling Video YouTube channel each and every week as well. Make sure you subscribe and follow everyone on social media. Again, the entire Big Slam Nation, Big Ray, Billy Ray Valentine, The Professor, A-Track, FAMEBLAck, and of course, our friends over at Sunday SEGUE. All their Twitters are down below, including the legendary, the iconic Mr. Bill After. Follow him at After One Wrestling. Of course, follow us on Twitter at One Wrestling as well, too. That's going to wrap things up here for our No Mercy review and results 2016 SmackDown Kills It Again. And until next time, guys, to quote the legendary Bill After, we will see you
at the matches.